Welcome back to the AEC video series. In this video series, we're going to cover the actual settings in the AEC itself. And we're going to concern ourselves with the global tab in this particular video. As you can see, when you get there, you're going to go there, Components, Account Expiration Control. It'll bring up AEC Central, and then from here you can click on Settings. It'll bring it up, and you can see here the different switches. The first set is Access. Requires subscription. Do you want the AEC to make sure the person has a valid subscription and it's current in order for them to have a successful login? If so, you set this to yes. This will also depend on the logic flow that you decided to use, and that was covered in the series about setting up AEC the first time, where we asked you to actually concern yourself with taking the time to read the manual pages on the different subscription flows that are available. Now, AEC by default will always allow the super administrator to go in and change any of the settings and so forth in the system. You can decide whether you want, besides the super administrators to have access to AEC in the back end, and also you can decide whether you want managers to have access in the back end. Under the system, the heartbeat cycle, every 24 hours, AEC will understand a login as a trigger to do heartbeat systems from the front end. And what a heartbeat will do is it will actually trigger expiration actions on subscriptions. The best bet here is if you're very active in the site, you don't have to worry about it. But if you don't log into the back end of the site very often, you may want to set up what's called an automatic cron to do the heartbeat cycle. And we'll cover that when we get to the Expert tab itself. Under Emails, AEC sends out default emails upon subscription. If you don't want those default emails to go out and you'd rather compose your own using the email MI, you can set this actually to yes, and this will stop AEC from sending out its default emails. AEC can also override whether Joomla sends out the registration confirmation emails. If you set this to yes, it will stop the registration email from going out. But this only is for the Joomla registration and does not work if you have Community Builder, K2, or Jam Social handling the registrations itself. Under debug mode, use curl, we always say yes. And that is if your server has curl installed. If not, it can use fsoc open. And the way to actually find that out is to go to your site, system information, and once you get to system information, you want to click on the PHP information tab and look for the words curl. And I am actually going to do a search here for curl, and you can see that this server actually does have curl enabled on it. So we will decide on this system to use curl itself. Simple URLs is basically designed to tell an SCF extension that you may have installed in Joomla to not do any rewrites on any of the URLs for AEC. And you disable the use of this by saying simple URLs is yes if you run into any problems that result in 404 errors. There are many different SCF extensions that are out there. Usually with the default Joomla 1, simple URL should be set to no. But the minute you start installing something like ACE SCF or SH404, that should be set to yes. And you also need to tell that component to skip and not SCF any of the URLs from AEC. Otherwise, it'll strip important information between the registration, the subscription, and the processor itself. The notification levels, now if you notice as I'm hovering over these, they're actually giving a help. And this is basically a good way to look at what's going on. But this will tell you the notification levels to put into the event log and what notification levels to send an email to the administrator on. This covers this part. And we basically covered access, system, email, and debug in this video. In the next video, we'll cover the next column. Thank you very much.